gift of life that we're back here to serve you. Welcome to the program. We're live on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana, also DSTV channel 277. You can find us live on there, and also on your multi-TV Digibox, we are also there, and also on radio on 94.1 FM. This afternoon till 2 p.m. we've got a lot of stories that we'll be sharing with you with the news updates, but right after that we're delving into a number of reports that we're looking at today, and that includes the out-of-school children census in northern Ghana. The figures that are coming in from that particular census quite alarming, as we'll be engaging Mr. Kofi Asare on this to understand what this particular census means for our education, especially for the people in the northern part of the country. And then we talk politics. You all know what's been happening about the Pandai seat. There's a rerun that is supposed to happen. And there is a poll from Global Info Analytics led by Musa Dankwa. And it says that Matthew Nyendam is leading so far. We'll get to interrogate him, ask him about that also on the show. So it's quite an interesting one on the show today. Make sure that you can stay with us as we delve into all of those reports. For now, Nana Kwesi Kweti is standing by to bring us the news updates. Kwesi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Desmond. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you also. We're back from the weekend where we had to put our brother to rest. But yeah, in all things, we give thanks to God. Take us away.
That's true. It was a sad moment for all of us, but may he rest in perfect peace. All right, so let's look at the news making the headlines for this afternoon. New Global Info Analytics poll on Pandai election rerun tips the New Patriotic Party's Matthew Nyendam as the front runner with 50% vote of support. Former Minister of Finance, Dr. Amin Adam, has dismissed claims that politicians from Northern Region are blindly following flag bearer hopeful Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. This and many more coming up. New Education Watch indicates over 3,000 children are out of school across 200 communities within the 5 northern regions. This and many more coming up. Stay tuned with us. Welcome back, and these are the details. Member of Parliament for Karaga and former Minister of Finance, Dr. Amin Adam, has dismissed claims that politicians from northern Ghana are blindly following the flag bearer hopeful Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Speaking during Dr. Bawumia's campaign activities, Dr. Amin Adam said the support being shown by MPP politicians in the northern part of the country is rooted in conviction, not sentiment.
The first constituency in the Republic to declare 100% for Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia will be Yagba Kubaro constituency, inshallah, on the 31st January 2026. On behalf of the good people of all the delegates, myself, the MP, my constituency chairman, the former DCE, the former constituency executives, the current constituency executives, the polling station executives, the electoral area coordinators, we have declared, all of us, we have declared 100%, 100%, 100%, 100% for Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia on the 31st January 2026, inshallah.
From that, the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the NDC, Emmanuel Ni Ashimo, has declared a bold target of capturing all 34 parliamentary seats in the region, insisting the party will take deliberate steps to win the 5 seats currently held by the New Patriotic Party. He made the remarks after Queen Mothers from various traditional areas joined regional party executives to congratulate him on the NDC sweeping victory in the 2024 elections and his subsequent appointment.
You led our people with exceptional courage, unity, clarity of purpose. Your exemplary stewardship resulted in unprecedented success in the 2024 elections, where 29 out of 34 parliamentary seats were secured, an accomplishment that reflects discipline, hard work, and enduring blessings of our ancestors.
The National Democratic Congress secured 29 seats in Greater Accra in the 2024 polls, up from the 20 it held in 2020. But a regional chairman who also serves as the board chair of the Prestea Sankofa Gold Limited says the goal now is to turn the entire region green.
With the job that we did 2024, before, during, and after the election, I can promise the good people of Greater Accra that the next year's coming elections, that is the 2028, I can promise the party in Greater Accra that we are going to increase our seats to 29 and it's going to be 34. Greater Accra 2028 onwards will be the bedrock of the party, a stronghold of the party, not just a stronghold of the party. It's going to be, the margins are going to be very huge. We are going to add on to the previous strategies that we use to get the 29 seats. So it's going to be just an add-on.
On Friday, Queen Mothers from across the region presented a citation to Ashimor in recognition of the party's impressive performance in the last elections.
He motivated us earlier, so we were also supposed to retaliate with what he did. For him to avail himself to be used by the region, I think he deserved more than what we even did for him. We planned of doing this thing for him basically on what he did. 29 out of 34, it's not a joke. So him having that massive pool, I think he deserved that applause we gave him.
Ashimor, visibly grateful, assured party supporters that they would be carried along in a journey ahead and duly appreciated for their contributions.
We are 36,000 delegates in the whole country with the party. Within the 10 months and 9 months and 12 months, we can't solve everybody's problem. But I know with time, the NDC is going to be power, not forever, but for long. And I know that with time, each and every person will be sorted out one way or the other.
The ceremony attracted party executives from multiple branches.
And in other stories, a new poll by the Global Info Analytics released Sunday, the 14th of December, has tipped the New Patriotic Party's Matthew Nyindam as the leader of the Kwandai election rerun, with 50% ahead of the December 30th elections. There is more in this report.
By the Global Info Analytics ahead of the Pandai parliamentary run has tipped the New Patriotic Party's Matthew Nyindam as the frontrunner. The poll, released on Sunday, December 14, 2025, places the embattled Member of Parliament at 50% voter support, narrowly ahead of the National Democratic Congress NDC's Daniel Nsala Wakpai, who polled 46%. Independent candidate Donko Eric Dipani is projected to secure 1% of the vote, while 3% of respondents remain undecided. Although the contest remains tight, the results placed Nyindam marginally ahead within a margin of error of plus or minus 3.9%. The poll shows limited vote switching between the two leading candidates. About 2% of Nyindam's previous supporters have shifted to Wapai, with a similar proportion moving in the opposite direction. However, 28% of voters who initially backed independent candidate Donko Eric Dipani have now shifted their support to Matthew Nyindam. On Nyindam's performance in Parliament, 3% of respondents rated him as excellent, 32% as good or very good, 36% as average, and 29% as poor or very poor.
And Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman has urged development partners and investors to sustain their support for research, innovation, technologists, and business incubators, assuring them of government's continued investment in the university's infrastructure and research development. She made the call at the 10th congregation ceremony of the University of Energy and Natural Resources in Sunyani.
Welcoming the gathering, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Energy and Natural Resources charged the graduating students to use the knowledge acquired to transform society. He also appealed to stakeholders, particularly government, to continue supporting the development of higher education.
Our theme, embracing excellence innovation for an impactful sustainable future, calls us to move from competence to consequence. Today, we celebrate not only what you have learned, but how you apply it to shape systems, strengthen communities, and steward life resources.
The paramount chief of the Doma traditional area, Osajifo Dr. Agyeman Bedu II, who also serves as chairman of the University Governing Council, encouraged graduates to uphold excellence, innovation, and sustainability.
Remember that true excellence is not measured by titles or accolades, but by the impact you make in the lives of others. Let integrity be your compass, innovation your tool, and service your legacy. As you step into the wider world, may you be bold in your aspirations, resilient in your challenges, and unwavering in your commitment to building a future that is sustainable.
Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman urged development partners and investors to sustain their support for research, innovation, technologies, and business incubators, assuring them of government continuing investment in the university's infrastructure and research development.
Private sector's agility and capital are essential to scale innovations, those that create jobs and improve services. The government of Ghana recognizes the crucial role of science, technology, and innovation in our national development. We are committed to strengthening the systems that foster ideas by funding research, offering incentives for green technologies, and fostering collaborations between academia and industry, which the speaker just talked about. However, policy by itself cannot generate results.
The overall best graduating student, Jennifer Adey, who recorded a GPA of 3.47, expressed appreciation for the honor.
Let's turn our attention now to local governance, and the Minister for Local Government, Ahmed Ibrahim, is urging Metropolitan, Municipal and District Assemblies, MMDAs, to prioritize cleanliness and enforcement of sanitation bylaws, while singling out the MCE for Madina La Nkwantana Assembly for praise. He warned that his efforts will not relent in its efforts to hold MMDCEs responsible for poor hygiene.
Ahmed Ibrahim, who is also Member of Parliament for Banda, made these remarks during an inspection tour of ongoing cleanup exercises in selected municipal assemblies within the Greater Accra region. According to him, the National Democratic Congress NDC government, led by President John Dramani Mahama, is determined to make Ghana one of the cleanest countries in Africa through the implementation of the National Sanitation Day initiative. Local Government Minister Ahmed Ibrahim, in an interview with the media, explained that as part of the government and the ministry's vision to promote a healthy and clean environment ahead of the Christmas festivities, authorities are collaborating with various municipal assemblies nationwide to undertake a one-week cleanup exercise aimed at ensuring that streets, markets, and public spaces across the country are thoroughly cleaned to attract visitors from across the continent.
These 7 days, at least, we must make sure Ghana is clean for the festive season, so that our brothers and sisters who will be coming from foreign countries will have a good impression about Ghana.
He further urged all assemblies to intensify their efforts and ensure that the one-week exercise yields positive results by encouraging every household to actively participate in the cleanup activity.
We cannot pretend to be ruling and be expecting the expected results. We must be intentional and deliberate about our actions and activities. That is what President Mahama stands for. And that is what the reset agenda is for. And that is what we in the ministry, together with my deputy and my colleague, are for. Monday we will start. And Monday, the Bola taxis will be at work. The sweepers, those that are functional, will be at work. The trucks will be at work. So if you are an MDA or MDCG, please and please, President Mahama did not appoint you to come and sit there and be disbursing common fund. He gave you job. Leadership is about service. Let that service be performed.
Abla Jifagumashi is the Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts.
We cannot promote a dirty country. We can only promote a country that is clean. It's easier if we have something positive to say about our country. And when visitors come, before they come to your house as media to see how clean it is, what they see is the streets of Accra. And so we are participating and collaborating with the Ministry of Local Government because they are partners. What they do reflects on the work that I do. But we as ministries or as ministers cannot do it alone. I want to use this opportunity to appeal to Ghana. Ghana for Mr. Ramawai. Our Bible more. Or say, maybe I want my home right in the corner where you are.
Politics communication team member of the NDC, Professor Benedicta Yayara Ufosu-Mensah, rejected calls for Ghanaians to consider the health of status of Ken Ofori-Atta in the ongoing corruption trial against him. According to him, Ken Ofori-Atta did not consider his health when he collapsed the economy. Meanwhile, Deputy Director of Communication for the NPP, Hajia Rabi Salifu, has requested that Ken Ofori-Atta be given the necessary health care first, assuring that if well, the former finance minister will come back to Ghana. They both spoke earlier on Good Morning Ghana.
I think it's a non-starter.
Okay.
A non-starter for a former president to meet a sitting president to have a discussion over a high case profile like Ken Ofori-Atta's case. I was just really wondering what His Excellency, the former president, wants to discuss with John Dramani Mahama. Today, there are people at the other side, as the NPP, arguing that he's sick, he's going to seek medical care, and so should be allowed to treat himself before that. I've just really wondered, when Ken Ofori-Atta was collapsing banks, when Ken Ofori-Atta dipped his hand in the pocket of people who are on pension, people who worked hard, saved some money, made investment to pay for their medical bills, people who were sick and were relying on these monies that they invested in government bond to cure their ailments or to buy medication, whether he really cared about these people when he decided to take these people's money in this whole saga of domestic exchange program. Did he bother? He never bothered. Why should we Ghanaians today be worried that Ken Ofori-Atta is not well, and for that matter, he should not be allowed to come and account for his stewardship to us? Remember, this was the same man who said that, look, he's not going to take any payment for his work. At a point when we said, look, his own people, the NPP MP said, look, enough is enough. We want Ken, and Ken must go. He did not want to go. Why didn't he want to go? At a point when his own people felt that, look, you are hurting us, you are hurting the government at that time, you are hurting Ghanaians, we want you to go. He said no, he would not go.
None of us has come publicly to say Ken will not come to be heard. Nobody is saying they are not coming. We have a whole legal structure in our party that is interested in going the legal way, and we are saying if the man is of good health condition, he would come and get all these processes done. Wait, we are not saying the man will not come, but you should be mindful, one, of inciting the public wrongly. You should be mindful that you are guided by a constitution called the 1992 Constitution of Ghana. If you hurriedly start calling this man a criminal, you're already exposing him to be treated, to be handled. And look, we all are Ghanaians, very discerning people, of course. Ken Ofori-Atta, as we all know and have seen, has shown us medical reports which clearly directs to us or to our thinking that he is unwell. Now, even in the prisons, with people who have been tried and convicted, they still get some level of treatment to be able to stay alive, healthy, to continue with the case. Abu Trika, as we can see on the set, and I'm again saying this with a clear position that I am not sure by looking at his physical appearance that he's as sick as Ken Ofori-Atta. So the clear difference here is that they both are people that are being invited to come for investigation, correct? But I am saying for the sick man, we should be able to show the required care and protection for him, if for nothing, to at least live long to stand the trial of the, or to stand the process if there would even be any trial or prosecution.
And let's look at domestic matters now. Ghana's quest to end violence against women and girls is taking a new turn, this time by challenging the very mindset that fuels it. At the maiden National Men's Conference on Positive Masculinity to End Violence Against Women and Girls, the gender minister noted that laws alone cannot change society.
The conference, which brought together traditional leaders, policymakers, young men and advocacy groups, focused on redefining masculinity in a way that promotes respect, equality and protection for women and girls. Speaking to participants, the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Dr. Agnes Namumulati, says while Ghana has strong legal frameworks to prosecute abuses, real change begins in homes, communities and conversations among men. She noted that transforming mindset is a missing link in ending gender-based violence.
All norms must be confronted. Silence must be broken. And all communities must stand united against all forms of gender-based violence. Laws alone cannot change society. Mindset must change.
The Presidential Envoy for Interfaith and Ecumenical Bodies, Elvis Ifrie Ankra, who read a statement on behalf of the Chief of Staff, Julius Debra, called for re-engineering of cultural blueprint of manhood in society.
As somebody who deals with various faiths, I am deeply aware that faith communities carry enormous influence in shaping mindsets and behaviors. Our mosques, churches, traditional councils, and family clubs must therefore become active platforms for positive masculinity. We have the moral authority, the social trust, and the spiritual responsibility to challenge harmful cultural practices, condemn abuse from pulpits and prayer camps, affirm the dignity of every woman and girl, and mentor boys into compassionate, just, and confident men. Positive masculinity is deeply rooted in our cultural values and our spiritual teachings.
The conference was on a theme promoting positive masculinity for gender equality, peace, and social justice.
And Chief Executive Officer of the Lockyears, Dennis Educhum, has reaffirmed the company's commitment to social responsibility after donating 1,000 white mobility canes to visually impaired persons at the Ghana Blind Union. He described the gesture as a fulfillment of promise made earlier in the year to support the visually impaired. Edichum noted that the donation forms part of the Lockyear's annual corporate social responsibility, emphasizing the need for more institutions to emulate such initiatives to empower vulnerable groups in society. He underscored that when businesses take deliberate steps to uplift disadvantaged communities, the nation becomes stronger, more inclusive, and better positioned to create equal opportunities for all. He expressed his joy at honoring the company's pledge, adding that the visually impaired deserve consistent support to enhance their mobility independence and overall quality of life. The CEO also encouraged Ghanaians to look forward to the final draw of the luckiest on December 20th, 2025, noting that the event would mark another major milestone for the brand.
Emulate, to look at this gesture and come to people with disability, come to their aid. So that is why we're here. Luck is everywhere. It is not just for the able, but for people with disability as well. On the 20th of December, we bring finality. We have a final draw. So everybody that has bought a ticket gets to win or have a chance to win the 2.5 million Ghana cedis.
And in health practitioner and philanthropist Dr. Efia Aponsan has called on the Ministry of Health to work to improve the social amenities and working conditions of medical doctors in rural communities in order to allow doctors accept postings to undeserved communities. She spoke at the media launch for the 3,000 under 30 with Dr. Efia health screening exercise.
The 3,000 under 30 with Dr. Efia Ajinsam, considered the largest health screening drive for women, is expected to deliver 30 hours of free medical checks for thousands of women at Accra Ifwa Sutherland Park on the 3rd and 4th January 2026. Beneficiaries will be screened for conditions including hypertension, diabetes, and cervical cancer, among others. Education on preventive care will be given to beneficiaries to help manage cases of non-communicable diseases in the country. Recent World Health Organization report reveals that non-communicable diseases account for 45% of deaths in Ghana. Medical practitioner Dr. Efia Ajinsam Aponsan reiterated the importance of quality and access to universal health care.
The healthcare professional feels like they've gone to school, they've put in the work, they've invested their time, their money to go to medical school, nursing training, and all that, yet they are not being paid as well or as much as they would want to be paid and on time. That is one aspect of it. On top of that, when they move out to rural areas or facilities that they have been posted in that they are not central, they don't have access to basic amenities. The government is trying as much as possible to make it easier for doctors to be able to relocate. So it's a very dicey topic. The Minister of Health is trying his best, if I'm being honest, but a little much more has to be done to push people to the rural area.
She urged all females to seize the opportunity to get screened on the day of the event.
The initiative was birthed because I am turning a milestone, and I felt like it was just great to be able to do this as a physician to spread preventive medicine. When you come on site, we are going to be checked. We are going to have systems that are going to take your bio data, and there are going to be free medications and medications for you to sample, or some vitamins for you to sample as well. Blood donation drive, National Health Insurance Scheme, it's a whole lot. We are closing it out with a gospel concert, and it's going to be amazing.
And that's it for Newsbeat on Good Afternoon Ghana. Desmond Okweku takes over.
Right, thank you very much, Nana Kweku, for bringing us the news update there. You're watching Good Afternoon Ghana here on Metro TV. I am Desmond Okweku. We've got two conversations coming up on the show. As I mentioned, we're talking education, and then we're talking politics also. In education, the Africa Education Watch is saying that there is a growing trajectory in the northern part of the country where more males are getting out of school, and they are doing so because of, hardship, and they are getting into betting and galamsey. Those are the two main indicators that are driving the young men out of school. We'll get to talk about that. We're speaking to Kofi Asare. And also we'll talk politics, the Pandai parliamentary rerun. We know that it will be happening later. But there's the poll from Global Info Analytics that has put Matthew Nyendam ahead. I will be speaking to Musa Dankwa to understand from him, as always, as he does it, and what are some of the findings from this particular poll that he has put together for the Pandai parliamentary rerun. So please stay with us. We're taking a break. We'll be back and get into the details of the story. Stay with us.
Hello? Hello, Auntie Abena. You won't believe what just happened. Grandma received her 4 TV. 4 TVs? Yes, 4. Okay, I'm coming.
I'm not.
It's like a scandal now. You are using it to spread grandma like that. Spread grandma? 4 TVs, 2 fridges, microwave. Abba, Kojo, why? Do you want to open an electrical shop for her?
Hey, no! It's a regular 100 cities I send her.
I'm sure it's Uncle Atu.
Let's call him.
Atu? Why? Atu? Why are you spreading a grandma with appliances?
Me? Spread who? When? How? Please, it could be Amma.
Let's call Amma.
Let me call her.
Hello?
Amma, why?
What are you saying?
Appliances for grandma, no. Why?
Hey, it's not me, oh.
Asanda, critical.
Let's call grandma.
Let's call grandma.
Hello?
Hey, grandma. So who is buying all those stuff for you?
Call me Granny Cash. Grandma know the joke, the luckiest. If they do me 5 pounds per year. When I buy ticket 100 cedis, I pay them small or big. I automatically get my free gift.
Hey, sir! Yes, so with the luckiest, anytime you buy tickets up to 100 cedis, whether small or at once, you are guaranteed to win a free gift. TV sets, fridges, hampers, airtime, cash. Remember to dial *712#, choose option 4 and follow the prompt. With the luckiest, everybody wins. Even Granny Cash.
Hello. Something different is taking shape somewhere. You want to know? Then let's march to the Volta region and make a stop at Ho, the regional capital. From good town roads, a new market, square, a university and an airport, among other things, we hit another junction. Ho is to be host of Ghana's newest plush gated community. To be called the Oxygen City, the project is to be executed by the TDC Ghana Limited under the auspices of the Ministry of Water Resources, Works and Housing. We are in exciting times. The reset agenda is on, isn't it? Make a date with us at 10 a.m. on December 17, 2025 at Ho, where President John Dramani Mahama launches the Oxygen City. Yes, it is something new from the doer.
At the heart of Amasaman, along the Accra Sawam Road, something fresh is growing. At Pop Farms, we raise 100% organic broilers, naturally fed, humanly raised, and processed with the highest hygiene standards. Whether you're feeding a family at home, serving dinners in your restaurant, stocking your supermarket, or running a busy chore bar, Pop Farms delivers freshly frozen, premium quality chicken straight from our farm to your table. Fast, reliable doorstep delivery, fair prices, grown with care right here in Ghana. Clean, healthy, local, organic. That's the Pop Farms promise. Call us today on 024-777-3668. 0244-626-700. Or email sales@popfarmsgh.com. Pop Farms, raising the standard of poultry in Ghana.
Pop Farms chicken, naturally raised, honestly delivered.
It's happening this December. It's the biggest, the largest, the Bushels Jollof Party Festival. It is the Metro Jollof Festival happening on Saturday, 20th December 2025 at the forecourt of Metro TV. It is an all-day event with opportunity for exhibitors to sell this bronya. Come join us. Let's cook jollof. Buy and sell on Saturday, 20th of December 2025. To exhibit, call 0243 272 753 or 055-282-0211.
This is Christmas and we are providing with Christmas jollof. Come chop, it is free. Not you ask you, come chop, take it.
Ignite Media Premises Jollof Festival. And one Coronia, Brand to go on the 20th. What I say on the 20th December, Unia, Casabo and one is a Jollof Festival.
I'm inviting all of you on the 20th of December. Come and enjoy proper Ghanaian cooked, prepared jollof right here on the premises of Metro TV.
25th. So I say, jollof free.
Yeah, you know we all love jollof rice. Come and let's show the Nigerians that we are the best in the cooking of jollof rice.
One change in nyamba jollof papa. Jollof ni ngong, jollof ni jema. Don't call your boda chobana call ye ni apa.
20th of December 2025. Make sure to come have some good Ghana jollof.
Petron Sadia Afro Bibia Ghana had the whole Ghana for any trim Metro TV studio. However, jollof no set here be Albania be a diama wow better lie into Petron Safro. The Bibia will be for any trim here and come baby on your party.
Say outfit. So over say over whom you are handling and the 20th day I have Ignite Media because you chicken jollof free. Say you will jollof, meat jollof, chicken jollof. Messi to one name never Ignite Media. Never did jollof free. So over free jollof. Ignite Media.
We are inviting you to our Jollof Festival right here at the premises of Metro TV. Come with your empty plates and leave filled.
Join me and the Ingot team at Metro Jollof Festival on the 20th of December.
Free.
A new poll by the Global Info Analytics ahead of the Pandai parliamentary run has tipped the New Patriotic Party's Matthew Nyindam as the frontrunner. The poll, released on Sunday, December 14, 2025, places the embattled Member of Parliament at 50% voter support, narrowly ahead of the National Democratic Congress NDC's Daniel Nsala Wakpai, who polled 46%. Independent candidate Donko Eric Nipani is projected to secure 1% of the vote, while 3% of respondents remain undecided. Although the contest remains tight, the results placed Nyindam marginally ahead within a margin of error of plus or minus 3.9%. The poll shows limited vote switching between the two leading candidates. About 2% of Nyindam's previous supporters have shifted to Wapai, with a similar proportion moving in the opposite direction. However, 28% of voters who initially backed independent candidate Donko Eric Nipani have now shifted their support to Matthew Nyindam. On Nyindam's performance in Parliament, 3% of respondents rated him as excellent, 32% as good or very good, 36% as average, and 29% as poor or very poor.
Right, so welcome back, and that was a report on the that is the new poll released by Global Info Analytics, and we're going to get into that conversation about the Pandai rerun. And joining me in studio is a man that we all know when it comes to elections in this country. He is the man. Mr. Dako, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
You are the man.
I'm just an ordinary man.
Anyway, so we've seen the ruling from the court, and over the past weeks, there's been lots of back and forth. We saw what happened in Parliament, and now this poll is out. And you're saying that Matthew Nyindam of the NPP, the current MP, is leading with the polls. Can you take us through that, the indicators, how you went? Because a lot of times the questions are asked about how he did the poll, how did he arrive at this answer, at this end result. So please take us through that, right from what happened in 2024, and then from the rerun ruling from the court, and from there.
Right. If you watch the results that was published by the EC,
right,
that was annulled, Nyindam won with about 3,000 vote margin.
Right.
And if you go back to history in Pandai, initially NDC was winning with a bigger margin. From 2000, 2004, I think around 48% and 15%.
Right.
Thereafter, it shrunk to a very small percentage, 6%, 4% here and there. And the trajectory has been that the votes for both parliamentary and presidential for NDC has been on a decline.
Has been falling. Right.
It tells you that Pandai has become very, very swing or marginal constituency, which means you win there with a smaller margin. So we don't expect a huge gap usually to emerge in elections. And the poll we are seeing is manifestation or confirmation of that understanding. Now, if you look at the overall sentiments of voters in the constituency, about 66% of voters believe the country is headed in the right direction. 64% believe that Mahama is doing well. And 54% of them are saying that their personal economic conditions has improved compared to last year. So with these big numbers, you would expect NDC to be leading.
Right.
I mean, NDC's candidate to be leading. But the poll shows that he's not.
It's not. And so I just, Gordon, I wanted to understand the trajectory, as you mentioned, that they're always very close. And so in 2016 in Pandai, the NPP candidates in Matthew Nyindam had 19,044. And then the NDC candidates for Bandai, Kwajo Tewia, polled 18,301. So that's just about 1,000 there. And then in 2020, Daniel Nsala Wakpal had 25,741, representing 51.92. And the NPP's Matthew Nyindam, again, these two, 23,669. So again, less than 2,000 2,000 votes. And then it comes into 2024, as we have mentioned. But let me just get onto the our video wall and just share some of the indicators as has been put in this poll by Musa Dankwan, that we continue with that. So there you see it on the screen. Again, let me remind you that we're getting onto Zoom to speak to Richard Ahyagba of the NPP and also Sofo Rashid Computer of the NDC on this particular poll. So you see that who would you vote for in the upcoming by-election? So there you have it. Matthew Nyindam, 50%, 46% for Daniel Wakpal, undecided 3%, someone else 1%. So I like the undecided part. Why are people undecided?
Yes, and that's where NDC problem is. Those who are undecided mostly were people who voted for NDC candidate in the last election.
Okay.
So you could see that there's a problem in NDC front, on the NDC front in Pandai. So he needs to get these people behind him. If this 3% had been, it would have been very, very close, 50-49.
That would have been 49 for the NDC candidate.
So there is a bit of fragmentation of NDC's vote within the Pandai constituency. And again, if you look at among those who voted for the MPP candidate last time, 98% of them are voting for him again, but for the NDC guy, only 97. So you can see the difference between 97 and 98.
And
that's,
98.
yes.
That's very close. But what were their response on the candidates? So that is Matthew Nyindam.
Look, this is a poll. We didn't go do research. Why are you voting for this person or that person? Just who would you vote for? That question. But we did ask them about the key issues that will inform how they vote. And 34% were mentioning jobs, which is employment. So it means unemployment is quite high there. So they want their vote to be influenced by the job prospect that they can see. Then you have economy around 18%. Say economy is also an important issue for them. Usually, economy is number one. It tells you that a lot has changed.
Okay.
Economy is no longer a frightening issue for voters, but rather something that they think probably is more or less sorted. Now we're talking about unemployment. And then the third issue is roads for them, as to what roads they need to be constructed. Yes, it will be influenced by roads, and then also education. Maybe the improvement or lack of it in the educational sector would also determine how they vote.
Okay. I want to take a reaction from Rashid Sofo Computer, who is Acting Director of Elections and IT for the National Democratic Congress, and he's joined us via Zoom. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for your time. You're on Good Afternoon, Ghana. Hello, sir. Okay,
Hello, can you hear me?
Great. I can hear. Yes, I can hear you now. Can you hear me also?
Very well.
Great. Trust you are well.
I'm good.
Great. So I'm sure you must have definitely seen the poll from Global Info Analytics that is putting Matthew Nyendam up now with 50% and your candidate with 46%, 3% undecided, and 1% saying that someone else. Your initial reactions about this particular poll?
Very well. I mean, we take Musa Dankwa opinion polls very serious as a political party. We consider him as one of the best brains when it comes to polling in the country. And as a political party, we always take his polls very serious in making decisions. And I can assure you, with this one, we will take it on board. We will look at it critically and see where we need to work seriously on. Don't forget, we are going into an election which was massively rigged by our opponent. Thankfully enough, the court stopped them by annulling the whole elections. And so we are going in well prepared, and we are going to make sure that within this short period that we have left, we will cover the gap as is indicated. I can assure you we'll cover it. And I'll give you an example. In Akotia by-election, Musa gave us similar polls, which NPP was leading us. He gave us similar poll, and we worked seriously towards it, and was able to flip it. And so with this one too, yes, he has waken us up. We respect his polls a lot. It's a wake-up call for the NDC, and I'm telling you, we are going to work towards it. The people definitely will vote for the NDC candidate because they are going to see the good works of His Excellency. We will make sure that we go and sell the good works of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to the people of Pandai. We will look at it. For the 11 months, what we have done so far, we'll let them understand this. And I can assure you, I'm sure he will do another poll before the D-Day. By that time, I'm sure the figures will be different because we are going to zoom in. We'll take on board his research, very important, very critical, and then we'll look at it and work towards it.
Right. So he's also shared with us the things that people said they would consider before going to the polls and vote for whichever candidate. As you are on the ground also, what are some of the things that you have been hearing, from the constituents?
Well, it's not different. What he has said is not different. It's the same. We have similar information. What he has put out is perfect. I can assure you, these are the issues they are looking at. Their road network, they are looking at the educational sector. I mean, their agri sector and all that. So he has gotten it. He has gotten the picture very well over there. And I am telling you, we are going to work towards that. As a government, they believe in us. They believe that we can deliver for them, and they will vote for us. Because look, if they go and vote for Nyendam, what can Nyendam do about this? He's in opposition. He will only go and join the press conference group. Then they have nothing to offer. And so if they actually want their roads, their educational sector, which they spoke extensively about, and then they are also talking of their network challenges, we are going to make sure that we will do it for them. We are not the type who go to by-election, and by this time you see a lot of bulldozers and all that running over the constituency left and right. We won't do that. But we'll let them know that, look, we are a group of people, when we promise, we deliver. And then we'll let them see these things. And to come to fruition.
Let's now talk about your candidate, Daniel Wakpao. How is his start with the base or with the constituent? What do they, or what are they saying about him? How are they able to relate, with them to be able to know that, this is the gentleman that we want to put up as our MP?
Well, you see, he's a known person. He's been an MP in the constituency on several occasions. I mean, 2020, he won with a large margin. I mean, you saw it. I was happy you were reading the figures. Then they came in and rigged the election in 2024. Very crooked electoral officers who aided in the rigging. This time, they won't have that luxury. The people still need Wakpao. They know he's a young man. He's somebody who is doing fantastic in the constituency. In fact, they actually voted for him. But because of this rigging mechanism, these 3,000 they are talking about, they don't have any 3,000. This thing was a rigged vote. And that is why the court nullified it. And I'm telling you that, look at the presidential voting. Although it was very close, I can assure you, like Musa Dankwa rightly put it out there, Pandaya is described as an ECOWAS. A whole lot of people are in there. It's a cosmopolitan ethnic group that is in Pandaya. You have almost, I can say almost all tribes in Ghana, you can see it in Pandaya, although the dominant ones are there. But I can assure you, this time they are seeing the good works of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And we are going to flip and win the election come 30th January, December. We are working towards it. These 2 weeks, look, it's a game changer.
Right. Now,
and I can assure you, we will work assiduously and make sure that the next polling that is going to come out, we will flip it.
There are also concerns about, when it comes to reruns and the persons who come out, or the constituents who come out to vote. It's not exactly as it is for the actual general election. How are you going to get the people to come out in their numbers to vote for you, as you're confidently telling us that you're going to win the seat?
Oh, yes. I mean, we are going to make sure that we bring out our voters, our supporters, activists to vote. That's what we are going to do. We'll whip them up. We'll make sure that we get them to come out to vote for us. And because in rerun, of course, like Musa Dankwa said it, yes, you might not have the numbers as in general election. But it depends on the political parties. We are on the ground. Our team are over there. They are working assiduously. I'll be joining them pretty soon. I'm dealing with the Electoral Commission here. And then so after that, we will zoom in there. And I can assure you, we are going to pull out our voters, our supporters, to come out and vote massively for Wakpao. That young man is good for the constituency.
Well, what about the 3%? The 3% who are undecided. How are you going to steer their minds towards the NDC so that they can vote for you?
We will convince them to decide for NDC. And that is what we are going to do. We are going to convince them. In fact, it's a communal labor. As I speak here, I've gotten a lot of requests from a lot of party activists. Senior ones, of course, in government and all this, who wants to go to Pandaya to make sure that they convince the 3%. In fact, that's why I'm saying we've taken the research serious from Musa Dankwa. And that 3%, we will make sure that they decide for NDC. And so we are going in there with a message, clear and concise message for them to decide for the NDC.
Right.
We are going to do that.
So from the 2024 election, I mean, as it has been taken to court and all that, I just want to read the outcome. So it was 53.2% for Matthew Nyendam and 46.6% for, that is Daniel Insala Wakpao. What is your target as a party for this particular election?
I'm telling you that we are going to win massively. Anything less than 55%, then we haven't even gone. We are expecting around 50 to 55%, and that's what we are going to do. Because I'm telling you, look, the people, the sustained strategy that we are going to zoom in within this 2 weeks period to make sure that the people take decisions that will guide their future development. That is what we are going to let them know. They are taking a decision that will guide their future development. They must know that we are under the era of research agenda, and they need their communities to also enjoy the fruit of their labor. Okay, and so we are going to sell this to them. We will let them understand this, and I can assure you, we will get almost close to that figure. Just watch us and see. Right. We did it in Akwatia. Yes, we did it in Akwatia. In fact, we were trailing the NPP. We were trailing with them when the first research came from Musa Dankwa. We were trailing. We worked hard and managed to flip it. In the last polls, it was very clear that his research came and showed that we have taken lead. And we're cruising to victory. And it actually came to pass. So this one, we have taken it on board. Yes, we have seen it. There's some 3% undecided. Yes, they might be cruising with some 50%. And we are there. That's a good research. We'll take it on board. And we are going to work towards it and flip it.
Right, so you're going to stay on with me. Let me come in studio and engage Musa Dankwa. So Rashid Tanko, completer there of the NDC, saying that nothing less than 50%, in fact, 50% to 55%, that's what they're looking at for this Pandai parliamentary rerun. And Musa Dankwa is in here. Musa, we heard from Rashid. He says he takes your post very seriously, as they did for Akwatia. You're smiling. How? This is definitely what you want, right? I mean, that you put out posts like this, and those involved do take it serious.
Well, I'm glad to hear that some take it serious. Others don't take it serious. And also, we've come to know that those who don't take it serious tend to lose. So for us, I mean, polls are quite something very important for any political party. And indeed, if you're going through an election. And in fact, there are a lot more we haven't published yet.
Okay.
So we could tell you which electoral area this candidate is doing well, which area is not doing well, which area has highest approval for the president.
Right.
So you can prioritize your campaign, where to go and where not to waste your time and money. So polls are very important. Otherwise, you go everywhere with the same resources and waste it.
Which people did you engage?
Ordinary voters in Pandai. We covered 17 out of 27 electoral areas in Pandai. For the next poll, we're looking to do a bigger sample and cover the entire electoral areas in Pandai. We don't want any surprises.
Okay. Any, in terms of the levels, the very young?
No, it's random interviews. Okay. When you're done that, you check their ages. So you can see the age profiles in the report. But what is very unique about Pandai is that they have very high level of voters without formal level of education.
Okay.
43%.
43%?
That is quite high.
Okay.
Extremely high. This should inform you the kind of campaigning you should be engaging in.
That should be.
It is not an elite constituency. So your campaign should not be big English and big GDP and big stuff. These are basic. Yes, basic. And also, when it comes to jobs that they're looking for, they aren't looking for white-collar jobs because they have no formal qualification.
Right.
So what job are they really looking out for? You have to engage them. You have to find out from them what kind of jobs they're looking at. And then make sure that what we are promising them is something that is in line with their priorities.
Right. It looks like someone else. There's no...
No, there was a third candidate, the Donko.
Yeah,
so,
Donko.
you know, in election, before election is held, sometimes you think, oh, this guy will do well, let me try hands on him. But after seeing the first result, some of his followers will say, oh, well, there's no point voting for him again. So they will look for new candidates. At the moment, about 28% of his supporters are voting for the MPP candidate. And the rest of them are saying they will not disclose. As to whether they will vote for MPP or NDC or the original vote, we can't tell. Time will tell.
Okay, that's quite interesting though. It's like very sharp. It's either for the NPP or the NDC, or you decide to abstain.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's quite interesting. You can share with us your thoughts on our socials, Metro TV Ghana on all platforms. Your thoughts on this particular poll by Musa Dankwa of the Global Info Analytics that is putting Matthew Nyendam ahead 50%, and we're working the lines to connect to the Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party, Richard Anyagba. So we hear from him and how things are going so far in the area. But if we still have Rashid on, I want to ask though, the leadership of the constituency, talk to us about, how strong, how effective that leadership basis in the area. Hello, Mr. Computer.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Great, I can hear you. Did you hear my question?
Yes. You are talking about leadership in the constituency.
Right.
Yes, we have a very strong base in the constituency. As we speak now, the regional secretariat of the party has been moved to Pandai, and then we started serious work. That's why I can assure the general public that we are doing something dramatic in that constituency within the last period to make sure that we flip the tide and then win the election. So we have a very strong leadership in the constituency, and they've been supported by the regional secretariat of the party. National has moved in. As of yesterday, we had the national officers met the whole branches, the 152 branch executives yesterday. I mean, and gave them the strategy, the plan, what we intend doing, and then things are going to play out. So we are on the ground, and I can assure you, with a united front, nothing is wrong with the party on the ground. We are solid, and we are working towards the victory.
Why? Someone asked that. Why are you doing this to the NPP? You have all the seats already. Why do you want to keep adding all of these ones?
My brother, in the general election, we filed 276 candidates. Is that not true?
Yeah.
What was our intention for filing 276?
That every one of them, you want them to win?
Of course. In fact, that was our intention. The NPP also filed 276. What was their intention? Were they filing some constituency and saying that we're not going to win this, so we shouldn't put up a candidate? Because we want representation. We are giving meaning to the Representation of the People Act, PNDC law. That's what we're giving meaning to. And that the people should be allowed to choose who they want, and then the political party of which the person is coming from. That is why we filed 276. Unfortunately, our opponent connived with the Electoral Commission to rig some of the seats. We haven't used any violence means to retrieve them. We went through the legal process, and it's clear. I just gave you an example. Why would you think a polling station will record up to 1,400 votes? Where do you get that kind of voting? And you allow this to stay, and somebody will be sitting in Parliament with that kind of crooked votes. So
for this rerun on December 30, what is the strategy like to make sure that you, as the NDC party, and for the candidates, Daniel Wakpa, you do not feel cheated or there's no rigging in this particular one?
Yes. In fact, we are waiting for a meeting. Very soon we'll have a meeting with the Electoral Commission, and we are going to raise an issue against the electoral officer who handled the 2024 election. They shouldn't allow him to come near the election because he was cited in the ruling as the person who did that kind of wrong collation, who messed up the election to the extent of having this kind of bad results that led to the cancellation of the whole thing. Why should they allow him to conduct the election? The Electoral Committee have other officers. Because our eagle eye, we are going to watch it, and we are going to make sure that this time is a national election. One man, one vote, one woman, one vote. And you will see the outcome. Like I told you in Akotia, we police the place and make sure that nobody misbehave and nobody turn any figure or anybody will park any figure at a collation center. It won't happen. The true reflection will show and they will lose. Any time there is a free, fair, transparent election, our opponent lose. They will lose heavily because Ghanaians don't want them. Ghanaians don't want to vote for them. They know their behavior. They are angry with them. And so this one, we are sure that with free, fair, transparent election, we are going to win. And we are working towards it. Yes, we have been waking up from our sleep, if we're sleeping, because with the research that has come out, it's showing that we need to do more. And so we are going to do more to make sure that we bring the seat for NDC and give the good people of Pandai a very good New Year Christmas package.
Right. Thank you very much for your time here on Good Afternoon Ghana. Rashid Support Computer is Acting Director of IT and Elections for the NDC. In studio is Musa Dankwa. So the survey reveals that there's a margin of error.
3.9%.
3.9%. Talk to us about that.
You know, the margin of error is actually applied to give you a range of possible outcomes. Because we didn't interview everybody in the constituency. And even if we did, somebody could go there and change his mind on the voting day.
Okay.
So the margin of error accounts for some of these variations. So in reality, what you will say is that based on statistics, the actual vote for Nyendam could be 50% plus 3.9%. So you got 53.9%. Or it could be 50% minus 3.9%. That gives him 46.1%. Likewise, if you look at an NDC candidate, you could deduct 3.9 from his percentage, he will get lower.
He'll get lower.
And then you add the 3.9, he gets higher. When you deduct it from him, he has to go to the other candidate so that the margin becomes bigger. So it's a range of outcome. Now, when you do that, you realize that there's a scenario that puts an NDC candidate also ahead. There's a scenario that puts him behind, which means that either of them, if the elections were held at the time we did the poll, could have won. But the elections are not being held now in 2 weeks' time.
Okay. Let's speak to the Director of Communications for the NPP, Richard Anyagba. He's joined us via Zoom. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us here for this conversation. The poll from Global Info Analytics suggests that Matthew Nyendam leads with a 50%. Good news for you and the party.
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon to Musa and Musa Dankwa and my brother Rashid Tambu. I'm not sure about good news, but if it confirms anything, it tells you that the seat belongs to a new patriotic party. Then the assault by the NDC to wrestle it by force. And it just confirms the status quo that exists today in the constituency before the NDC assault to forcibly and illegally wrestle the seat. You know, Rashid was talking to you about the Representation of People's Act, and they're giving effect to it. That's a difficulty, really, because the same act provides for a window that you and I discussed the last time here, which is 21 days after gazetting an election result, parliamentary election result, and under Article 99, if anybody has any grievance to go to court and activate their grievance. This petition that is leading and the order resulting in the order for a rerun is clearly not consistent or in conformity with that act. And so I am saying that there is no legitimacy to the claim that is being made for a rerun, and therefore the order by the High Court judge to order a rerun in Pandai is not properly before the court. So in other words, that legal decision by the judge is a nullity. Okay, so that's the problem. And so if Tanko is seeking to have equity and is talking about integrity and transparency, that transparency should apply from when they went to court, which is to say that they don't have any standing relative to PNDC law 284, section 16 to 18 or so. So I'm talking about this whole conundrum that is, about Pandai's seat, it is really an illegality that the NDC is trying to push. And if you look at the conduct of the judge in a matter where there is so much urgency, when he sat on the case that is staying the decision that he had given, he sat on the case and postponed or adjourned court for a ruling on the 18th. It tells you that they are not interested in having a legal redress to the matter because they know they don't have a case. So for me, there is no good news in this matter. The good news will come if all of us begins to do the right thing and apply the law where the law ought to be applied, and be clear in our minds and tell the NDC what you're doing is wrong, it's an illegality, and they should stop it. And that's the only point where you might be talking about good news. But to go to the constituency, my friend or brother Musa Dankwa, to bring this data, it only, if it's anything to go by, only captures the state of affairs, which is that on December 7th, the New Patriotic Party won that election, and the people believe that that's the case, and that should be the case. No election is needed in Pandai as we speak now, or any time before the 7th of December 2028.
But Mr. Ahiagbah, I mean, you've raised concerns, but for now, the Electoral Commission has set up a date, 30th December. Are you not getting ready for it?
Well, no, we're in court. That's unconscionable, really. The EC is completely being manipulated. This is just how bad the NDC has become. This is how tyrannical the NDC had become. They are not even ashamed about it. They are moving full steam ahead with all this illegality. How is it that there is a clear provision? That provision by 284, okay, it is not subject express on the face of it. It's express. The provision the Act provides is expressed on the face of it. So it is not subject to my interpretation or any judge's interpretation. It is a clear provision that must be respected, plain and simple. But the judge refused to respect that, which is why the NDC is moving so quickly, okay, trying to manipulate the EC, manipulate the process, and make sure that the election goes before any appeal process ratifies or more or less reverses the High Court judge, the Tamale High Court judge's decision. Because any court that is sitting on this matter, clearly on the face of the law, will not side with the ruling from Tamale High Court. Because it is clear that don't come here after 8. If you come here after 8, the fact that you have come and performed your job, you have not come here properly. At 8 o'clock, we had closed. So you had no standing to come here after 8. That's what the law says. And so the NDC come in after 8 and say because they came after 8, and so therefore they have a judgment which is necessitating this whole election in Pandai. That order is illegal. That law order is not in conformity with existing law. So what the judge is ruling from is actually a nullity. So the point is for me, that why can we not just allow the legal processes to be concluded? So look, I tell you an absurdity, okay, a clear absurdity, and all of us, and Tampo will agree, that if any law in this Ghana made by Parliament, judicial precedent, and by Supreme Court or whatever, okay, if any such law is in conflict with the Constitution, the 1992 Constitution, that law becomes subservient to the Constitution. In other words, the Constitution is supreme. If you go to Article 99, it says that, which Article 99 is the act that determines membership of Parliament. It says in Clause 2 that when somebody had come to dispute an election, a parliamentary election, and it is determined one way or the other, and the person feels aggrieved, Clause 2 says that you have a recourse in a court of appeal. Okay, so now we have a certain High Court rule, which is not constitution. Okay, it's just a rule. And the Constitution says that you have a recourse. That recourse is superior to any High Court ruling, any High Court rule or procedure of engagement, because the Constitution says you have a recourse. If you have that recourse in Constitution, that recourse cannot be the basis of that High Court rule, which has been amended to say that the fact that you have recourse in law does not, stop the institution from implementing. If anything, the institution which is EC, the institution which is Parliament, which is now ordering or announcing to the EC that there's a vacancy, there's the institution that is the judge, whose ruling is being activated, is subservient to the Constitution. So the Constitution is supreme. So if a Constitution gives you a right, why is any group of people having made any law subject to the Constitution saying that that one must take precedence over the constitutional right to seek recourse? I don't understand. That's an absurd situation with a High Court ruling, a High Court procedure. No, how can you make a procedure, rule of engagement at a High Court that is superior to the Constitution? I don't get it. It's expressed in the Constitution, Clause 2 of 99 says that if you are not happy with any ruling to do with a parliamentary seat, you have a recourse. So that recourse must be exhausted before any step is made forward.
So that's the step, the NPP. So in this case, you're saying that you are not going by anything the EC is saying. That, because I'm looking at the EC press release and it says that will be conducted for 3 candidates. That is on the 30th of December. We have just about 2 weeks more to go. You say that you're not in line with that particular decision from the EC. So what do we wait for from your party?
Where we are now, we have a Supreme Court hearing on the certiorari application before it tomorrow. Yes. So that Supreme Court will be sitting on that. The goal of that is to quash the ruling from the Tamale High Court. When that happens, then this whole process will be turned upside down.
I guess that will be left with the judge to decide whether he's going to squash it or not.
Which judge?
No, I mean from the way you say it, as if that is what will be tomorrow.
I'm saying that the Supreme Court, the application before the Supreme Court is to quash the order on the basis of the fact that that petition that was submitted by the NDC parliamentary candidate on the 25th of December was not properly before the court. It is not in conformity with the PNDC law 284. And so the Supreme Court, on the face of it, will see it and then will have to quash it. Because really, we're not talking about who is your friend or who is in power or who is not in power. We're talking about the law. And the law is not sensitive to who is in power or who is their friend. The law on the face of it must be interpreted as it is or must be read as is. So the Supreme Court is sitting on that matter. Tomorrow we'll see the fact and will act according to the fact. So with that ruling from the Supreme Court, if they get to a point where they determine the case tomorrow, and I hope they do because of the urgency of the matter, then it will be clear that we can't proceed with the election because the ruling that is giving effect or rise to that rerun would have been nullified. So they will go back to status quo ante. So that's where we are. And our goal is to pursue all of that legal process. And we have an application which we're waiting for. We're going to be filing also at the Court of Appeals for this issue to be dealt with. So where we are, we believe that the laws must be provided. The rights of all the aggrieved parties must be addressed fully and have all this situation exhausted. Once the situation is exhausted and the position is that the rerun should go on, then we as a party can make a decision. But we cannot do that in contravention with the 1992 Constitution, which legitimately gives you right for recall. And before that right is exhausted, somebody is moving in a very hurried manner to have a rerun to steal your seat. That cannot be. That will be turning our Constitution on its head. That will be affecting people's rights. It's abusing the rights of the honourable member of Parliament for Manda.
Yeah. So Mr. Ayagba, you just said that if the court says the rerun should go on. And that's what my question is, that tomorrow is Tuesday, so you'd have just 2 weeks if it is supposed to go on. If you don't win the case as it is now, and the ruling is that the rerun should go on, you just have 2 weeks to do that. Are you not feeling any way that you're losing some days of campaign as this is ongoing?
No, I don't think you should worry about that.
Okay.
You should worry about how is it that we cannot, as a people, have fidelity to the law. Because the only thing that glues our society together is my belief that when my right is trampled upon by you, or yours trampled upon by me, you have recourse. And so the law must be seeking to work for all of us and must continue to work so our society can continue to be glued together. But in this case, we are sure about the case we have expressly that the result of the election, including Pandai, except a few that were gazetted later, I think in January 6th, the Pandai result was gazetted on the 24th of December 2024. If you count 21 days from then, it is not the 25th of January when the NDC parliamentary candidate filed his petition at the High Court. So given that he filed out of the window, it is assumed that he doesn't have a case. Because if he had a case, you file that case within the 21-day period. So no court will uphold that judgment except the skirmish that was done at the High Court entirely. We don't know how they got to do that because the judge should not have accepted this petition, as properly being before the court.
Okay.
You shouldn't have. It was clearly out of the window.
Ms. Hayaba, I am understanding.
Imagine that you invite me to be here at 2:30 and I come at 1 o'clock, you had closed the program.
Right.
You had closed the program and gone.
I am trying to understand the points you're raising, but what about the points that indeed there were irregularities in the election? The judge in his judgment wrote that I'm trying to get that, says that one pink sheet recorded 1,422 votes in a column that did not correspond with any related figures, while in other instances the EC's version of results differed markedly from those held by the petitioner. And it goes on and mentions a lot of irregularities. Are those not the ones also that we should be worried about, that an election that's supposed to be free from any of such things actually happened?
So I don't know about that. And the question I want to ask you clearly is that the NDC parliamentary candidate woke up on the 25th after the 21 days had elapsed. Within 21 days, he couldn't find these pink sheets and inconsistencies thereon. He couldn't find it. He couldn't find it. So then it is outside the window that he found it. There's a reason why there's the law that you do so within a specified period. You disagree or you agree. There's a reason why. Okay? So if there's a provision, wherever you and I are sitting, if you stake a lotto, just for a wild analogy, if you stake a lotto and you win and you don't go to claim, nobody will come and look for you to come and take your win. You understand that? You have to claim it. And so if he knows that this thing has happened, which I don't know, I don't have any evidence to confirm, right, that it's happened, the law is clear that you have 21 days to do so. So if you miss the window, it doesn't matter what your grievances are. That's why the law provides for 21 days. Otherwise, we won't have order. Otherwise, 3 years down the line, somebody can show up and say, your seat, my seat is in question because they've dreamt and then they saw something in their dream, and that should be operationalized, and a court should fight for that right for them. Right. The law is clear. For purposes of order in society, to avert chaos, which is now confronting us, that's why the law says that you do so in a certain period of time.
Okay.
But if you miss that, you have foreclosed on your right.
Okay, Mr. Ebert, thank you very much.
NDC, he had foreclosed on his right. So this case that is sent to the High Court was not properly before the court, and the court shouldn't have entertained it.
Right. Thank you very much for your time. We'll wait tomorrow for that ruling and see what happens next. Thank you. Richard Anyagba is Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party. Musa Danquah is still wrapping up on this, and then we can go. So the NPP's Director of Communications says, well, it's not something they're looking at for now. They want the whole thing quashed by the Supreme Court. That is the focus. So it will be after that. And he said, if the ruling is upheld, and then I asked them that there'll be just 2 weeks for campaign and doing all of those things. He says that shouldn't be what I should worry about. So as we wrap up on this, you said there are more findings that you're going to be releasing.
Yes. On that point, I think the same kind of uncertainty with the Ablekuma North issue, or we are contesting, we are not contesting, it leaves a bit of uncertainty in the minds of people, even the candidate. It doesn't help in the organization. You should prepare to go, and if the ruling doesn't go your way, you know you haven't lost time. I wish they have done that. But, I mean, we're going to do more polling in the next coming week or two. We're going to cover every electoral area in the Pandai constituency with a sample that will give us the confidence to predict who is going to come out victorious in the rerun election. Hopefully, we'll have a clear results then. Okay.
Thank you very much for joining us. Musa Dankwa is Executive Director for Global Info Analytics. Join us here, sharing with us the latest poll updates about the Pandai rerun, showing that Matthew Nyendam of the NPP is leading that with 50%. This is Good Afternoon Ghana here on Metro TV. We're taking a break. When we come back, we're talking education. The Africa Education Watch has also conducted a survey in the northern Ghana, and that's out of school children, and really about when it comes to the decline of males attending schools, it is being attributed to betting and galamsey. We'll get to find out more about that. Stay with us.
Hello. Something different is taking shape somewhere. You want to know? Then let's march to the Volta region and make a stop at Ho, the regional capital. From good town roads, a new market, square, a university and an airport, among other things, we hit another junction. Ho is to be host of Ghana's newest plush gated community. To be called the Oxygen City, the project is to be executed by the TDC Ghana Limited under the auspices of the Ministry of Water Resources, Works and Housing. We are in exciting times. The reset agenda is on, isn't it? Make a date with us at 10 a.m. on December 17, 2025 at Ho, where President John Dramani Mahama launches the Oxygen City. Yes, it is something new from the doer.
This Christmas, Cattle's Agri Limited is bringing you freshness, flavor, and festive joy straight to your home and office. Right here in Accra, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Takoradi. Cattle's Agri, your number one poultry plug. Fresh birds, sweet eggs, delivered with love. Get ready for our juicy Midofopa package. You get 1 broiler, 1 layer, 2 crates of eggs, plus our special chicken spices. All for only 450 Ghana cedis. Midofopa, sweet value for you. Or go big with our Kuko Bolobo package. That is 2 broilers, 2 layers, 2 crates of eggs, and chicken spices, just for 800 Ghana cedis. A Kuko Bolobo. More chicken, more joy. And for families and corporate bodies ready to feast, try our Odon Sada package. 3 broilers, 3 layers, 3 crates of eggs, plus spices for only 1,200 Ghana cedis. Order now, enjoy more. And the best part is, corporate orders come with free delivery. Terms and conditions apply. Call us now. 0558 376127 or 0241 674268 or 020-331-5557. This Christmas, choose Cartoons Agri Limited. Cartoons Agri Limited. Freshness you can trust.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
The second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or being late,
of course.
Go be the luckiest, go be from Georgia be luckiest, from not the block she be luckiest. Yeah, you go be luckiest. No matter why you're luckiest, everybody go be the luckiest.
That's Kwame.
Send your God down for boom. If you put it away, so would the coming of the son of man be. Is that his car?
Ha! Even now, your shadow the way designer.
I use my own mouth to reject him. Oh, this is my mouth. Look at that.
Kwame, my son. Now, tell me the truth. How did this all happen?
Oh, mommy, a simple direction. Mr. Goodluck no check me well.
Yeah,
man.
Easy cry. Or dial star 712 hash. The devil is a liar. He picked his ticket and entered his lucky 5-digit number.
I'm his birthday.
Oh, how romantic!
And he followed the prompts. Yes, and then boom, confirmation test.
One quick, pick 5 numbers for me, okay? I'm feeling like 7.
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompts and let destiny handle the
You see how they love you now?
Yo, do you have family payment seminar? Before December, may release a motivational album. Fatapa, my super.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
It's happening this December. It's the biggest, the largest, the Boshills Jollof Party Festival. It is the Metro Jollof Festival happening on Saturday, 20th December 2025 at the forecourt of Metro TV. It is an all-day event with opportunity for exhibitors to sell this bronya. Come join us. Let's cook jollof. Buy and sell on Saturday, 20th of December 2025. To exhibit, call 0243 272 753 or 055 282 0211.
Afishapao! Merry Christmas, everyone. I am Mrs. Millie Tracy Nkem Mallet, President of Association of Nigerian Women in Ghana. On Saturday, 20th December, it's gonna be hot for all the African countries. Let me tell you guys something. We Nigerians gonna win. I urge everybody, anywhere you are on Saturday, I want all of you to be at Metro TV. North Reach. I can't wait to see all the beautiful faces to come and taste the Nigerian jollof and the Nigerian moi moi.
Welcome back. This is Good Afternoon Ghana on Metro TV. I am Desmond Okrekodanso, and we'll get into a second conversation for the afternoon. We're talking education now, and the Africa Education Watch has released the census. That's an out-of-school children census in northern Ghana, and that's about telling us what is happening in the northern part of the country in terms of education, looking at males and females. And we'll be talking to Kofi Asare in a bit. He's Executive Director for the Africa Education Watch. But let's take a look at some of the key findings in this particular census, and also some of the recommendations, some of the other things that were found in this, and how we can use this to make sure that this data, as we have found, so that's it on your screen right now. It says that the census covered 20 districts across the 5 northern regions of Ghana. Districts were selected to capture varying out-of-school census prevalence levels and socio-economic context within the northern ecological zone. Key findings: 1, prevalence of out-of-school children. The census identified 3,536 out-of-school children across 200 communities within the 5 northern regions. The Upper East and Northern regions accounted for over 70% of cases, highlighting the concentration of the OOSC, that is out-of-school children, in deprived districts. 2, the age and gender distribution. Children aged 15 to 17 formed over 40% of all OOSC, showing a higher dropout rate among older learners. Boys, that is 59.9%, were more likely to be out of school than girls, 40.1%, suggesting persistent gender disparities. Also, barriers in schooling. Key barriers included financial constraints. Very key. It says that inadequate education infrastructure, long distances to school, and socio-cultural practices that discourage consistent attendance, particularly among girls. Community-level insights. Many households cite limited livelihoods and seasonal migration as factors influencing school absenteeism. School-level issues such as teacher shortages and lack of teaching materials were also prevalent in deprived communities. 5, financial constraints. The study identifies that financial constraints, socio-economic pressures, and inadequate educational infrastructure are major barriers preventing children from accessing formal education and participating in CBE programs. Key recommendations to address the complex and overlapping barriers in education: a comprehensive, context-specific, and rights-based approach is essential. The following recommendations are proposed. Let's take a look at some of the recommendations. Government should continuously allocate sufficient financial resources to support AEP, including funding for learning centers, facilitator capacity building, facilitator allowance, learning materials, and on and on. Continues that government, through the Ministry of Education, the GES and the CES, should adhere to implementation of the CES CBE policies that outline the objectives. Also, the Ministry of Education, GES, should promote collaboration between relevant government agencies such as the CEA, the National Teaching Council, Ghana TVET Service, Department of Social Welfare, NGOs, to facilitate the coordinated approach to addressing educational needs. Right, and also government should implement district-specific action plans prioritizing high-burden districts there. So those are some of the recommendations and the key findings from this particular study, as we have seen on the screen. Now let's now talk to Kofi Asare. He joins us via Zoom. He's the Executive Director for Africa Education Watch. Mr. Asare, thank you very much for your time here, and good afternoon, Ghana.
Hi, good afternoon, and thanks for having me.
Great. Very, very, very interesting, I should say, findings there from this particular survey. But just take us through why this survey was actually done.
Well, once in 10 years, we conduct the National Population Housing Census. And as part of that census, the Statistical Service will brief us on the out-of-school children's situation. The last one was in 2021. Since then, the government of Ghana has been implementing interventions to reduce the out-of-school children's situation. By 2021, about 1 million were out of school. And so we expect that with these interventions costing the taxpayer millions of cedis being implemented, it's important for us to peruse, to review progress being made, and then on the basis of that, we make recommendations to government for systemic reforms, policy strengthening, intervention strengthening, etc., so that we don't wait till another 10 years in 2031 or 2030 for another census to be conducted before we wake up to realize that the out-of-school children situation has actually worsened. So this is a form of formative review and also assessment of progress made, and then also to guide continuous policy implementation.
Right. So
we selected the Northern region, the 20th district in Northern region, because if you look at the out-of-school situation, the majority of out-of-school children are found in the northeast in terms of percentage or proportion. The Northeast, Savannah, and Northern are the leading regions with the highest proportion of our children being out of school. So because the situation is endemic in the northern part of the country, we selected the 20 districts from the 5 northern regions.
Okay, talk to us about the findings on the males and females in school and those who are also out of school. You also touched about social cultural reasons as part of it. I really want to understand that also.
I think 2 key findings emerged from our census, which are relevant to the conversation around strengthening the response to out-of-school children. The first is that in contrast to the dynamic reported in 2021 that majority of out-of-school children were girls, we see that the trend has changed, and that in this districts, majority of out-of-school children are boys. Indeed, we find that about 59% of the out-of-school children we surveyed during the census are actually boys, and that sort of confirms the drivers. But the drivers, according to the households we spoke to during the census, are mainly one, economic factors. Economics. If you drill down, you see children involved in Abuboya, in Galamsey, and then in betting. So these are, negative economic activities that children are supposed to be involved in, especially for the last 2. And so once these activities are male-dominated, you would expect that to the extent that they are prominent activities in the district, many boys will be at betting centers during the day, and following Abubuya and getting some cash, or doing Galamsey in the Talaise area, in the Bole area, etc., when they're supposed to be in school. And that perhaps explains why we have more boys out of school than girls compared to the 2021.
But Mr. Asare, just another question on the back of the betting. So financial constraints, as you mentioned, is one of the key findings you found in here.
Economic driver.
Yes, one of the economic drivers of this. To bet, you need money to bet. So how are they getting into betting? Did you find anything there?
Well, what they said, what households we interviewed said was that the children there were not interested in going to school because they were making money in betting.
Okay.
If they weren't making money, they wouldn't be doing it. I'm not justifying that they should be doing it because there's money to be made. But the point I'm making is that how they got into it, we may not know. All we know is that they have seen it as a profitable venture. And so the get-rich-quick syndrome has engulfed, the societal perception of the benefit of education, the future or the futuristic benefit of education. And to the extent that parents are not responsible enough to restrain their children from participating in these activities. Perhaps because they are bringing money home, money that those who have been previously educated in the household wouldn't bring home. So it's an issue of perception about the future relevance of education, and it's also an issue of parental responsibility vis-a-vis, poverty, because every day these boys are bringing cash. Don't forget that in many of these areas, prior to this emerging dynamic, Galamsey, betting, etc., the major issue that drove boys out of school was farming. So parents were more minded in taking their children to school in some communities, than taking them to the farm than in school. Because there was an opinion that others went to school and they are still a burden. So you are useful rather supporting us to be much more productive, on the farm. Of course, the farm feeds the family. We are migrating from that to a situation where parents may not be taking their children to the farm in place of the school, but they are encouraging their children to participate in negative economic activities like say and betting, insofar as they will bring cash home. And that is what we must discourage.
Right.
Local government must be upfront in discouraging such actions. We have identified in the study that a high number of boys out of school, especially in Talensi, in Manumba North, in Bulsa North, in Bushegu, these numbers cannot be tamed if we don't take the decisive action at the policy level. I'm saying so because even though we have a free basic education requirement, 38.2 of our constitution, the compulsory aspect of FQ has still not been activated in Ghana. I don't know what you are waiting for, because we've been having that provision in our constitution activated, the FQ, since 2005. So why have we failed to almost 20 years after implementing FQ in 38.2 of our constitution to activate the compulsory aspect? We won't get to a point where we'll have adequate schools. We'll never get to a point where we'll have adequate teachers.
Okay.
There will always be scarcity in the deployment of inputs or goods for the delivery of social services. And so it starts at a point. We should begin to implement stringent measures towards enforcing the compulsory in basic education. The exception should be that parents who have justifiable causes not to enroll their children, perhaps because of proximity reasons, there may not be a school, or there's a school, but then there's no space. That's fine.
Right.
But in communities where there are schools, but children are doing Galamsey and doing betting, and the parents who are supposed to be responsible and ensure that their children enroll are rather encouraging them to participate in these economic activities that are illegal. And so we want to say that it's time for the government to take a strong view, on the need to implement the compulsory aspect of FQ.
Okay.
Other than that, we will never be able to get the cooperation from some parents when it comes to ensuring that we meet targets in the Education Strategic Plan and SDG4 by 2030. I'm talking about equitable access targets to basic education.
Mr. Sari, let's talk about one of the key recommendations you mentioned here, collaboration between all of these relevant agencies. How important is that to us making sure that we are able to reduce the numbers?
It is very, very important. The Ministry of Education is financing a program. For the government of Ghana, Ministry of Education is leading the implementation of the Ghana Education Outcome Project, a project targeted at providing accelerated learning to out-of-school children and transitioning them to the formal basic education system. Now, while we spend tens of millions of cedis on this project, it is expected that once these children are identified in the community, facilitated to participate in accelerated learning through the comprehensive basic education, and transition into the formal education system, it is expected that by the time they arrive in the formal school, there are coping mechanisms, there are retention mechanisms that retain them in school. One, the presence of a teacher in the classroom. Two, presence of textbooks in the classroom. Three, furniture in the classroom. And most importantly, school feeding programs, which have been proven to be the single most effective driver of enhanced retention in our schools in the past 14 or so years. Now, if the child transitions and enters the school and these things are not there, they drop out again. And they will tell you, community level practitioners, and I was doing community practice for a long time before veering to advocacy.
Mm.
We will tell you that it's more difficult to convince someone who has dropped out of school to go back to school than one who has never been to school before. And so the challenge we're having is that the interagency collaboration between the agencies responsible for facilitating the entry of out-of-school children into the formal school system after having gone through CBE, and the agency responsible for ensuring that the school system is managed well to be able to receive and accommodate and retain these newly recruited quote-unquote students, MOEGs. That collaboration is very key. Other than that, the Complementary Education Agency and its partners in civil society will work and bring all the out-of-school children to the basic school. But when they arrive in the school and there are no teachers, then work done is zero, more or less fetching water into a basket. And that is why the collaboration between these agencies are very, 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 I mean, that's why the collaboration between these agencies is very, very important to sustain gains being made in complementary education.
Right.
And also in reducing the school children.
Mr. Sari, we've got to end it here. Beautiful survey. And of course, this will be one that will shape.
But let me quickly indicate that it's important for the government to recruit teachers in the first quarter of next year. It's so important because the absence of teachers in many of our northern classrooms, especially, is a key driver of the out-of-school children situation.
Okay.
So we cannot wait till September for recruitment. We want to see decisive action in recruiting teachers in the first quarter of 2026.
Right.
So that at least we are able to, sustain the little gains we have as a result of the CBE interventions,
right,
and provide equitable opportunities for children who are out of school, especially in these underserved communities.
And just a quick one on the uncapping of the GET Fund by Parliament. Good news?
Yes, it's good news that GET Fund was uncapped. We are informed that it's a new law that has committed GET Fund as a financing framework for free senior high school and free TVET. It's good to have sustainable funding sources for important policies like free senior high school and free TVET. So it's good news. But the challenge is that GET Fund wasn't originally meant for that. Free senior high school and free TVET is more about goods and services. It's more about buying food for children in school, because about 70% of free senior high school budget is for food. And so what we are doing is that while we have found a very, very reliable funding source for free senior high school and free TVET, on the other side, what we are doing is that we have turned GET Fund, which originally used to be a capital expenditure backbone for the sector, from basic to tertiary. We are gradually turning GET Fund into a net consumption-oriented fund. And that is problematic because the ministry hasn't yet found a sustainable CAPEX source. If you look at the budget, CAPEX is, when it comes to GOG, CAPEX at the tertiary level is close to nothing. So the reliance on GET Fund is the only assurance to see infrastructure, especially in tertiary institutions. We've seen some efforts by the government, commendable, to shift a lot of the CAPEX pressure on the District Assembly's Common Fund. And that's why we are seeing 20% of DACF being committed in 2025 and 2026 for basic education infrastructure and furniture in all the districts. That's great. But GET Fund remains and it should remain an infrastructure backbone where investments rather than consumption takes place. So we have to tread cautiously, in especially offloading too much of secondary education, free senior high school pressures on GET Fund.
Okay.
We have advised the government that the government should look at alternative complementary funding sources, innovative funding sources,
to be able to,
from the corporate sector, from endowments, from extra budgetary sources, to complement the GET Fund support. Other than that, if free senior high school leans flexibly and wholly on GET Fund, we will put free senior high schools infrastructure requirement on GET Fund. We will put its goods and services requirement on GET Fund, and that will consume almost all free senior GET Fund, and there will be nothing to support basic education and tertiary. So that's why the balancing is very, very important, even as we find a sustainable source of funding for free senior high school in GET Fund.
Right. Mr. Kofi Asare, thank you very much for your time. Kofi Asare is the Executive Director for the Africa Education watching. This will wrap up the show for today. Malia, respect to Musa Dankwa, Rashid, Computer, and also Richard Ahiagbon, the Pandai rerun and the post by Global Info Analytics. Many thanks for watching. 20th December, this coming Saturday, is Metro TV Jollof Festival on our premises here at North Ridge. Make sure that you are a part of it. My name is Desmond Okweku. Many thanks for watching. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. Have a good afternoon.